Well, let's transition into that because I wanted to talk about that, and since it came up naturally, we'll go here now. Um, During the pandemic, and Cass, by the way, just to be just to be thorough here, Comcast is not the only guilty culprit of this. This is big
No.
as a whole. I mean, we're talking Comcast because that's where you worked, but this is not just unique to Comcast. But during the pandemic, when it first started, I think pretty much every cable company, they lifted these data caps, which proved, by the way, everybody was online. Everybody was online for work, for school, and guess what? The sky didn't fall, folks, which proves something most of us knew all along. These data caps are just price gouging bullshit. There's no reason for it. It makes no sense. There's no reason for it to ever exist. They didn't really do anything for anyone. They just basically, again, they just lifted a bullshit marketing mechanism and said, oh, we're not going to charge you this thing that we didn't need to charge you in the first place. Comcast, and I'm sure some other companies have done it too, but I'm pretty sure Comcast might have been the first. Comcast has now rolled that back. So what exactly did they do? Because I know now they're imposing data caps during the pandemic.
And these could be different. I'll just for the interest of like fairness and full disclosure, some things are marketed and ran differently in the East Coast division through Xfinity than the West Coast. Like plan pricing and stuff are different. So I don't know if there was.
Doesn't state law have something to do with that too? Like, aren't there some variation?
Yeah. So on the East Coast, I don't know if they always had the data cap, but pre-pandemic, there was a data cap on the West Division accounts. It just was never talked about, and most people never went over it. At least pre-pandemic, it wasn't real common to go over it. And if they really needed unlimited data, it was $50 more per month. Then Comcast, seemingly with these other providers, out of the kindness of their hearts, removed the data caps when the pandemic broke. And I found out yesterday that was actually the FCC's doing. I read a CNN article. The FCC was like, can we please not turn off anybody's internet service and not charge for data caps while we figure stuff out? And then they put like a June deadline for that sort of handshake agreement. Once that June deadline hit, everybody went back to, let's charge them for going over this data cap again, right? What Comcast did specifically is reinstated the 1.2 terabyte data cap and then offered two different levels of equipment rental. You can rent their modem router, they call their gateway, for $14 per month, or you can do what they called X-Fi. What was the name of it? Unlimited, I think. Yeah, X-Fi Unlimited. That was the modem rental and unlimited data for $25 per month. So like an extra $11. And if you owned your own modem and wanted unlimited data, it would cost you $30 per month. So you save $5 by getting unlimited data and renting the modem through them. So and they did that at the end of June.
Now, why do you think that was the timing on that? And what did you see from the inside? Because obviously they had to have known that they're just being horrible. I mean, they have to know that. So how was it kind of sold to you guys? I mean, I saw the kind of marketing because I covered it on this show. I saw what they explained where they're like, look, nobody comes close to these data caps. And I'm sure a lot of people don't. That's not a straight up lie, but like that was kind of how they tried to sugarcoat it. They're like, look, this is just, no one really reaches, don't worry. And it's like, yeah, we're in a pandemic and you're imposing data caps. We're in a pandemic where people, so what about the people who needed this for work and they maybe reached the data cap now? Should they charge, are they going to have to like try to charge their place of employment because they need it for their job now? So it's a mess. So how was that kind of on your from your insider perspective? How was that like rolled out?
It's really kind of presented to us as a great feature and solution for customers. What? Because the data limit is going to cost them $30 per month. But now we're giving them the option, if they are renting our modem, to just add unlimited for $11. So it's an amazing benefit to a customer who is already probably going to rent a modem. and those two different tiers were available just before the pandemic, but then, the shit hit the fan and they just kind of all went on hold, and then they re-rolled it out, kind of relaunched this whole data cap and unlimited data options after the fact. It felt terrible to me. It just felt like the wrong move, and I complained to my wife about it, and then just weeks and weeks of dealing with these kinds of phone calls and having to sell bullshit to people. It was just absolute arbitrary bullshit to me. And it just felt worse and worse. So yeah, it's like, I got to get out of here.
What was the work culture like? I mean, were there other people around you that were kind of like, this is evil bullshit, or did everybody else, and I'm sure there's not like a one blanket statement for every single person, but was it more people drank the Kool-Aid, or was it more, we all know this is ridiculous, but I mean, what are we going to do right now?
It's a pretty healthy mix of both, but I definitely had coworkers that hated it. I had a supervisor that left. He gave 2 weeks notice, and then 2 days later he just left. 4 other supervisors from our call center walked out. And there's a lot of turnover in call center sales type jobs to begin with, sure. But usually Comcast is like developing and moving people up into supportive leadership roles and then bringing in new sales agents. But there was about a 2-month period where it just seemed like we were losing more and more people. And then the result there was then the phones are back to back, phone calls. You hang up and there's another call immediately because there's not enough people to answer everything, I have a friend who's still working there who hates it, but hasn't found anything else.
When the workload increased, did they give you guys any kind of a raise?
No. At the very start of the pandemic, like most companies with essential workers, they gave everybody a very minimal boost in pay. I mean, like maybe not even $1. There was just some sort of raise for a month because they anticipated that we were going to be just bombarded with phone calls that we couldn't sell things on. And so to help compensate for the lack of ability to earn commission, they just kind of give us a little bit of extra pay, field all of the calls, handle everything, and then business as usual the next month. Once baseball came back, they're like, all right, the world's back to normal. Sell video. Everything's normal again. Data caps are back. TV fees are going up. Here we go. Life is normal. And that was what the culture was like. Everything's back to normal. But I don't think myself or anyone else on my team ever felt like things were normal in our lives. It sure felt like and still feels like the world's on fire. Yeah. And they're like, but hey, make more money for us than you did last year. Thanks. Or you're fired. Like, oh my God.
Or you're fired?
I mean, if you don't, every agent has a scorecard that's kind of comprised of a lot of different metrics. And if you don't meet the expectations of one particular metric twice, like 2 months in a row, they'll put you on a coaching plan and then you're let go if you still can't. So, you really feel a lot of pressure to perform.
You still had high sales expectations, even despite the pandemic. They didn't put any of that on hold for any employee.
Oh no! Like for instance,
that is psychotic.
Yeah, you used to have to on every call talk about the Xfinity mobile service. Then after the pandemic, the month the pandemic caused all the shutdowns, it became you have to sell 3 mobile phones per month to meet this metric. And then the month that I quit last month, it was 14 mobile phone sales. So they just kept exponentially raising all of these
during
goals.
During a pandemic. Oh, during a pandemic.
Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. An article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and make it our own. Get your